Hey, I'm Brent Hall, and today I want to talk to you about 7 of my all-time favorite photography accessories.
I'm going to use the drift method. Freaking incredible. Round F16 for that to get that sunburst.
There are a few things, 7 exactly, in this video that I use on a day-to-day basis. I use them every time I go out, and not only have they helped my creativity, but they've also saved me and given me the ability to get a certain shot that I wouldn't have been able to get had I not had these things. And some of them, a couple of them are kind of expensive, and well, half of them are kind of expensive and half of them are cheap. So I'm gonna go over the cheaper stuff first, and then talk about the expensive stuff last. And when I say expensive, that's a relative term, because what may be expensive to one person may not be to another person, or vice versa. So everything that I'm talking about today is going to be under $100. And like I said, half of it is going to be under 50, half of it's going to be over 50. So let's look at some of the things, starting with the super little things. So the first and most important thing on my list, the thing that I use every single time that I go out or even shoot inside or whatever, is my rocket blower. And this is just, there is an actual rocket blower. I think that's like the brand name, and they're like more expensive because of their name, I guess. But all kinds of people make these. They're all the same. They're super cheap. So any kind of little air blower is fantastic for cleaning off your cameras externally, for cleaning your inside in your shutter and your sensor, and cleaning your lenses and everything. I use this all the time, especially because I live in New Mexico where it's always dusty. Alright, so the next thing that I never leave home without is a strap. And it's not the strap that comes with my cameras, obviously. So this strap is, it's a lot thicker, it's a lot more padded, which is nice because I hike for long periods of time. But it's also clippy, so it clips in and out, and the clippy things are attached to the camera. And it makes it really easy when you want to put this from around your neck or whatever onto your tripod, which I do a lot, especially because I film too. And when I have this on a tripod for time lapses or whatever, you don't want the strap just flapping around, blowing in the wind and hitting things and messing up your long exposures or your video or whatever. And also, this is way more comfortable. Another reason that I really like this strap is because there's nothing on here, and I travel a lot. I go to a lot of sketchy places, and although the Canon straps are fine that I have on my Canon cameras, they are very obvious, and it makes them slightly more of a target because there's a big red stripe going down the middle of the thing, and it says Canon and bright white and all that. It's very noticeable, it's very loud. And I really like these because they're more subtle, they're more comfortable, and they're way more efficient for the things that I like doing. So that's the strap. This thing goes for, I think, about somewhere between 15 and 30 bucks depending on what system you get. There's tons of these out there. So this is an Optech. They make a ton of different types of straps and lengths and different clippy things, so you can have all of that stuff on there. Very handy. So this one goes for about 20 bucks, I think. Alright, the next thing that I pretty much never leave home without anymore is some sort of travel tripod. And this is a little table tripod, a Benro PocketPod. That, like, again, there's tons of different tiny tripods out there. It doesn't matter which one you have. I like this one because I like Benro stuff. It's pretty solid, and it says it has a weight capacity of like 2 pounds or something, 2.5 pounds or something. But I've found that in a pinch, if you have to put something heavier on there, you can, especially if you just keep it in its straight up vertical position. If you try tilting it or whatever, it's not going to work. Or if you have a heavier lens, it's going to hang over, and that's going to be with all the tripods. But this thing being solid, really thick plastic, it can hold more weight in a vertical position if need be. But I really like this for using it with my phone, which I do a lot of work with, especially when I'm out scouting. If I see something really nice, but I don't have my camera or whatever, I have the Galaxy Note 8, which has a pretty decent camera on it. I've done a lot of other videos about it, but this is a handy, any sort of little tripod is really handy to go with that. So if you want to set it up and get a test composition or all that, or if you need to film a vlog and you've only got one other camera or whatever, then you can throw your phone on this or your GoPro or whatever, or your smaller camera, and you can use it as a little stabilizer in a little extension. So that really helps for vlogging. And it's also great for holding lights and stuff. If you need to mount a light, especially if you have like the Joby Gorilla Pods, you can wrap those things around trees and light posts and stuff, and then mount your little lights on here. So there's tons of stuff that you can use a little travel tripod for. So that's my travel tripod, or pocket pod, or table pod, whatever you want to call them, tiny tripod. Oh, and this thing goes for about 19 bucks or 18 bucks or something, but they're all similar priced, anywhere from 10 to 50 bucks. All right, next thing. This is not super photo related, but this helps me out a lot, especially at night stuff, because if you've watched my channel, you know I do a lot of astro stuff and a lot of night stuff. So these are just headlights, and I have tons of them. This one is an Energizer light that I've had for like 10 years. I just got it at Walmart, 15, 20 bucks, but it's super bright. It has a lot of, it has 3 different modes. The red mode is super nice for when you're doing astro stuff, so that you don't bother people. If you're out in a group and you're shooting, the red, it's just not as bothersome in a camp situation where there's other people around. You're not blinding people. But this one's, it's got a lot of power for what it is. It runs off AA's or maybe AAA's. Here's another one. This is a black diamond. I think I got this at REI for, again, 15 to 20 bucks. Very similar, smaller, great stuff. These are not just good to have mounted, you know, to wear as a headlight for when you're rummaging in your car at night or looking through your bag or whatever and hiking the trails, but they're also great for light sources. So if I need to do a vlog, or if I need to light something up in the foreground, light a tree up that I'm shooting or something like that, the headlights are great for that. So they're not just for being a headlight, they're just extra sources of light, which in photography are always great no matter what. Okay, so that's it for the cheaper stuff. So let's talk about some of the stuff that is a little bit more expensive, but again, still, everything's still under 100 bucks. Well, actually this is super cheap. These are my phone filters, and I mentioned that I like to go out with my phone and do test shots and all that stuff. That's dusty. So these, I've reviewed these, well I haven't reviewed these specifically, but I have done other reviews on my phones, like the how to shoot waterfalls with phones video. That's up here if you want to check that out. But I use these a lot with my phone, and these are just 37 standard. These are standard 37 millimeter filters, and this comes in a set of 3. So I have 3 of them stacked on here to make it really dark. So an ND2, an ND4, and an ND8. So if you stack those all together, they make it super dark. And then this little clampy thing comes with it. The clampy thing is, I think it's 10 bucks. And then the filter set is another 11 bucks or something like that. So again, and it comes with this handy pouch. And it has the different, so you can put all 3 of them, and it's got 4, so you can get an extra one, like if you get a little circular polarizer or something. So these are really handy. I never go anywhere without these because they're just super easy to carry with you, especially if you don't have a camera and you just have your phone. Then having the ND filters for that just opens up possibilities for your mobile photography, which with the advance of the smartphone cameras, is getting better and more fun every year. Okay, so in addition to filters, those are the cheap filters. These are the more expensive filters. Filters in themselves are, again, they're a money pit. Like, you can get super expensive filter systems that are the big rectangles that are, you know, 100 mil systems, and those things can run 1,000 bucks or more, you know, depending on how many you get and the holdy things, and you need bigger pouches. But I travel too much, and I have to carry a lot of other stuff, so I like to stay light. So I just have these regular filters, and my #1 favorite filter is my circular polarizer, and this is this one is a B&W filter, and it is, I think, somewhere between 50 and 100 bucks. I think it was 70 bucks for this one. Again, the links for this stuff will be in the description below if you want to check those out. But circular polarizers, if you can only have one filter, make it a circular polarizer and get a bigger one, and then you can just get some step down rings or step up rings or whatever, and they can fit all your smaller lenses. But get the one that's for your biggest lens. They make the colors pop a little more saturated. They cut the shine off of water and through glass and all that stuff. So if you don't know what these are, check out my video here about polarizers and ND filters and what they do, and go check out one of these. If you can have two filters, then you definitely want to make it an ND filter and a circular polarizer. These are ND filters, and they just make them so where they're basically make everything darker. This will help you with your long exposures. This will also help you if you want to do video and you want to film at a very shallow depth of field. This will also help you if you want to do flash photography outdoors and you still want a shallow depth of field, but you want to use flash too. Then you can use an ND filter rather than doing high-speed sync, which will drain your flash batteries better. So there's tons of uses for ND filters. They will allow you to get pretty shots like this of smooth clouds and smooth water, and they're very fun to use. So this one is a Tiffen. This is an 82mm, so this is the biggest that Tiffen makes, and that beast right there, the 2470, has an 82mm diameter. Everything else I have has 77mm or less, so I just have this one size, 82mm, and then I have step down rings. I think this was 40 bucks for the 82mm, and this is a 0.6, which is a 3-stop neutral density filter, so you can get them in various stops. I would recommend at least getting a 0.9, which I also have here. So this is a 0.9, it's the same thing, it's Tiffen. Tiffens are kind of middle of the road. They do very well. They're not cheap, and they're not super expensive like B&Ws and Firecrest and all these other high-tech are really nice. So they're kind of middle of the road, and they do really well. They do require a little bit of tweaking. Some of them have a little bit of a color cast, so you need to maybe play around and post a little bit, but it's always worth it for what they're giving you creatively in the field. Okay, so next up is lights. We already talked about the headlights, and those are great for, you know, using any kind of situation where you need extra light, or if you need a bounce light, but this is taking it a step further, and this is my Lume Cubes, and these things are amazing. They are kind of expensive. They're about 80 bucks a piece, I think. If you buy them in packs of 2 or 4, I think you get a little discount. So I think it's like 150 or something for a 2-pack. But the cool thing about these, they are LED lights. They have, here we go, so 6. They have 9 brightness settings and up to 1500 lumens packed in this tiny little cube, which is incredible. Another great thing about this is it's waterproof. So they come with little screwy things here. So they come with one of these, and you can screw them in the back to cover their USB charging port. And once you put this on and seal it, then this thing is completely, submersible. And that's fantastic. They also can be run via Bluetooth app through your smartphone, and they can be, so you can use them as a flash, and that's great. So you can have multiple off-camera flashes, and that's fantastic. So like I said, these are a little more expensive, and these are what I happen to have, but you don't necessarily need these. There are tons of off-camera LED lights. Oh, I have another one. I always forget that I have this. I haven't used it in a while since I got the Lume Cubes, but there's stuff like this. This is Polaroid LED, and it does really well. It's very nice. It has a couple of controls on the back for on and off and dimming, so you can dim it, set the brightness, and then it has color temperature, which is nice. So you can go from 3200 to 6500 kelvins, which is basically like the orangey indoor light, to the more bluish daylight like you see here. And this thing is pretty nice. It can run off a ton of different battery stuff. It can run off the little Sony batteries that are like $5 to $10 a piece, and the lithium ions that they have. It can, if you get the different plates to go in here, it can run off of AA's or whatever. So very versatile. There's a ton of different lighting options, but the point is lights. Lights are very handy for so many different things, and they really open up your creativity when you're doing photography of pretty much any sort. All right, last thing, and this is my favorite thing. This is probably my favorite photography accessory of all time, and that is the Alpine Labs Pulse. And this thing is a camera trigger remote control via Bluetooth. Real quick, it's only, as of now, it only works for Canon and Nikon DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. So only for Canon and Nikon. The reason for that is this thing runs off of a USB, and it goes from USB out of this into your camera. And Sony at this time does not allow USB controlling over their cameras. So for right now, this thing is only Nikon and Canon. It is mainly for time lapses, but it's also for long exposures, HDR. It's also really good for selfies, like if you want to run out on a big rock or something, you're on a landscape and you're by yourself, then you can just use your phone and you have this plugged in, and then you just click it, and whenever you're ready to take the picture. Great for group photos when you want to be in the group photo and you don't have someone to take it for you. So this thing can do a lot. I use it mostly for time lapses. I did a review of it here recently that goes over in depth everything that this does and how much I love it and how I use it, so you can check that out. So like I said, I use this mostly for time lapses, and this being an accessory thing, it's not just, you don't have to just have this, because this is the most expensive. This is like 90 something, it's either $89 or $99. So this is definitely the most expensive thing, and it's not for everybody. So the thing I want to get across to you is that just because I have this, I'm not selling it, I'm not affiliated with these guys, I love it. But the point is, it's a trigger and it's an intervalometer, and there are other triggers and there are other intervalometers out there that are very inexpensive. You can get something that is $15 that is a basic intervalometer, and there are tons of them out there. So that's the point, is that this type of accessory will allow you to do so much more with your photography. If you've seen my channel, if you've seen any of my vlogs or anything else, I love doing time lapses, and I love doing environmental selfies, because putting a person into your landscape gives it a lot more of an adventurous feel and a lot more of human emotion and all that stuff. And a lot of times I'm hiking by myself, so I love the ability to do that rather than struggle with having to have someone else there or set the timer on the camera and then run and get in place and all that. This stuff just makes it so much simpler. So any basic trigger or intervalometer will do the trick, and this is my favorite out of the bunch. Alright, so that's my 7 all-time favorite photography accessories. So hopefully this video helped you out and kind of lets you see what kind of stuff is out there. And again, I'm putting all of this stuff out there as the mind frame of helping your creativity, and that's what this stuff does for me, and that's what I want it to do for you. So hopefully this video helps you. If you like this video and you want to see more like this, more tutorials, more vlogs, more reviews, everything photo video related, definitely make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you have any other questions about any of the stuff that I covered or anything else photo or video related, make sure you leave them in the comments below and I'll definitely get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.